Hello, welcome back to GOT. Today we're going to talk about the Pixel 9 Pro Fold after 1 month. I'm going to give you my review on how this thing has performed over the last month and whether I'm going to continue using it and how it compares to the other foldables on the market and even some of the bar phones. I'm going to try to hit all the pros and cons. Let's get to it. Now to begin with, the Pixel 9 Pro is a beautiful phone, as you can see here in its design. They didn't really hold back on this thing. It's elegant, it's thin, and one of its best features, it's got that wide aspect ratio on the cover display. So right from the start, one of the pros on this phone is I love the front display. It's so large. As a matter of fact, it's the exact same size as the Pixel 9 Pro. When you look at these things side by side, you can see the design model on both of them. They intentionally made them look similar. And I got to tell you, from my experience, having this phone, even in the folded position, I sometimes forget that it's a foldable. Yes, honestly. You know, when you look at this thing, it's the same thickness as the Pixel 9 Pro in a case. So you put a case on both of them, you've got the same thickness in the phone. Now there is a little bit more weight to the foldable, but that's because you can have a second phone on the inside, which is really nice. You got that full screen. So that's one of the first pros, that they finally made a phone in the US that's the same size as a flagship bar phone, giving you the look and the feel of a regular bar phone, as opposed to something like the Z Fold, which is so narrow. I use it open most of the time because it was very difficult to get around and do anything on the external screen. So much more natural, and I'm just trying to be real here, and I really enjoy it. Now, how does it really compare feature-wise to a true flagship or a true Pro phone, as in the Pixel 9 Pro versus the Pro Fold? Because everybody's wondering, why did you give this the Pro title when you didn't give it the cameras to match? Now, using the two and doing a battle with the cameras, which I can do later if that's something you want to see, I'm just not seeing enough difference to warrant wanting to carry around the Pixel Pro just for photos. To me, it just feels like and seems like I can get everything I want in a shot out of this phone that I can out of this phone. So in my view, between the two, I wouldn't hesitate to get the Pixel 9 Pro Fold over the Pixel 9 Pro. So what's really cool is Pixel made a difference between the first Pixel and this one, is now you have the app pairing. Right there, you open it up, you can got the apps side by side, you can browse through and multitask as much as you want to. Or what I do is, using it as a consumption device, I'll watch 2 social media platforms at the same time, or browse 2 shopping sites at the same time to look for deals. So is there a con with the multitasking? Well, I don't really think so, because most of the time I just use 2 apps, even on the Samsung or even the OnePlus Open. But if it did have a feature for a third app, I would go with the OnePlus Open, where you can open a third app down below and have 3 running all at once, full size. So all you gotta do is sweep up to get the third one, or sweep down to get the other 2, and you can trade places with them. That's the best feature. A floating window like you get on the Samsung does not really do much for me, or even just splitting one side of the phone to get 3 apps on the screen and have to deal with 2 tiny apps. That doesn't do it either. So all that to say, I'm happy with the 2 side-by-side apps. Now, the one con with it, I do wish when you rotated the phone, you had the option to put these side by side versus one over the other, because I don't like this format. But what is nice about this one is you can adjust the size of the window a little bit. Whether you have it turned in landscape or in portrait, you can adjust the window sizes, which is not something you can do on the OnePlus Open, believe it or not. You can't adjust the size of the apps. They're either full size or shifted to the side. I'm talking about the speed and the performance on this phone. I have not felt any difference between this and the other Pixel 9 Pro, or even my other phones, believe it or not. This thing is fast. Yes, it has a Tensor G4 chip in it, and a lot of people complain about that, but I'm not seeing any difference in speed. But of course, I don't do any heavy gaming, nor do I do heavy video editing on this phone or any of my phones. So it makes not a whole lot of difference for me. If you want to see a app speed test between phones, check out this video here. I even went back as far as the S21 to see how it compared to the newer phones. You got to check this out. Be shocked. And one of the things you might be concerned, because I was concerned about, is the stability of this phone, the strength of this phone. You know what? It is solid, even as solid as the Pixel 9 Pro bar phone. When you have this thing closed, it feels just as solid as any other phone. Now, when you open it up, that's when you might feel it's not quite as sturdy, Matter of fact, I think jerry rig everything. He went ahead and was able to bend it in half just with his bare hands and break it. Well, I don't ever intend on doing that, and I've never had that issue with any of my devices, but it's solid and it will hold its position at any angle. There's one point where it'll flop open, or at one point it'll actually slam closed. Other than that, it is very solid, and that's by design. It's supposed to do that. I think the crease got a little larger after use and opening it a few times, but still not as bad as the Z Fold. But I will say the phone with the least amount of crease is the OnePlus Open. So as far as durability on the Pixel Fold, I'm pretty happy with it. But you know what? I wanted to be protected, and I went a step further. So with Google, you can actually buy their care package, and I pay $12 a month right now. I'll probably do that for about a year, or at least till the first break, if there is one, whichever comes first. And that covers this phone, of course, for accidental damage on top of the warranty service. And if you look at the details, if you have the coverage, the care coverage, and you crack the screen, $29 to repair it. That's not bad. And they say that you'll have a phone the next day. Now, that's if there's a service available near you, walk in. I don't know what it'll be for me mailing in, but from what I read and understand, when you pay for their care service, they have a really quick turnaround. Any of you that might have experience with it, let me know down in the comments. Now, you're not missing out on any of the AI features that you get with the new Pixel phone or the 9 series phones. You got all of that in the Pixel Fold. And when you're playing around with the Pixel Studio, you actually get a much larger service to do that in. Because I've tried to do the same thing on both phones, and it's very difficult on a bar phone with that small screen. But when you open up this large screen, it makes it real simple and easy. So my final thoughts on the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, it's a keeper. This is a great phone. I don't even think that I'll switch back to the OnePlus Open when it comes in, although I really do like the multitasking, and that screen is just beautiful on that phone. But this one's larger. That's not to say I won't, but for now, I'm thinking I'm going to stay with the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. You'll have to stay tuned to see if that's the case when it does come back. And once it comes back, I'll give you the whole story on this second defect on the OnePlus Open. Now, I can keep rattling on for hours, but I gotta say, this is a great phone. It's a great buy. Even at the full price, $17.99, it beats having a bar phone and a tablet, which would be a lot more expensive than the $17.99. Do I still believe that price is high? Yes, of course I do, but it is what it is. So if you have any questions about the Pixel 9 Pro that maybe I didn't cover, or that you really want specifically answered, ask me down in the comments down below, and I'd be happy to answer your questions and maybe even make another video on it. And while you're down there, make sure you smash that like button. It really helps out the channel. And of course, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more content as we start covering more tips and tricks on these phones and others. Thanks for hanging out with me. Until next time, God bless.